Welcome back to Daily Movie Recaps. My name is Rocky and today I will show you a comedy, fantasy, mystery film from 2020, titled Palm Springs. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. In the desert resort city of Palm Springs, Niles wakes up in the room with his girlfriend Misty. Niles wants to begin the day having some intimacy time with her, but she really isn't in the mood because she wants to get ready for a wedding. So, he goes to the swimming pool to chat with Jerry, who flirts with him. He goes to the wedding wearing the same clothes. The ones getting married are Tala and Wilder and Abraham Eugene Trenchleifen, better known as Abe. Tala's half-sister Sarah Wilder isn't very happy to be there either. After Misty finishes her speech, she calls for Sarah to give hers, but she is a bit drunk and didn't prepare any. Her dad and stepmom put pressure on her, so she nervously stands up trying to think of something to say. Luckily, Niles cuts in and takes over the microphone, gives a very touching speech about Tala's charity work and her donation of bone marrow to her brother. The speech is a success, and the party begins. Everyone is having fun on the dance floor except for Sarah, who kept drinking. Suddenly, Niles appears and asks her to dance with him. He leaves when she turns him down, but she follows him to his table. He recognizes her perfume, which was a gift from Tala. They talk for a little while. Niles asks her to leave the party and go somewhere private. Sarah reminds him of his girlfriend Misty, but he shows her how Misty is providing her service of the wedding officiant in the bathroom. To make him feel better, she kisses him. The two of them go to the desert area to make out and get intimate. Niles is undressing when he's shot by an arrow on the shoulder by Roy Schleifen. Niles runs. Roy chases Niles and kept shooting until they reach the entrance of a glowing cave. Roy enters the cave and Niles had been hiding behind a rock, enters after him. Sarah comes to check on his injuries, but Niles warns her not to follow them. The cave glows extra brightly and Niles wakes up in his bed again. The day has reset. He gets intimate with Misty, then goes to the swimming pool and chats with Jerry, but this time, Sarah interrupts his routine and wants to know everything. Last night, she ignored Niles' warnings and went into the cave only to wake up and find herself in bed. After noticing the same date on her phone and the wedding preparations, she ran out of the room to her parents, but they don't understand anything when she told them everything. She jumps in the pool herself to catch him. Tala sees this and comes to stop her, but she slips and hits her face on the ground and loses 3 teeth. The whole family freaked out, but Sarah is still confused. She goes back outside to find Niles. He explains that they're stuck in a time loop and they will forever be reliving the wedding day from now on, and there's nothing they can do to stop it. Sarah ignores him and runs back to the desert to find the cave. Niles follows her and tells her to wait until the earthquake that strikes every day will opens the cave. When this happens, Sarah enters the cave. Niles tells her that nothing will change and it will only reset the day again. The day resets exactly as Niles predicted and Sarah gets her car and drives away. Sarah keeps drinking coffee to stay awake and drives all the way to Texas to her apartment, where she falls asleep and wakes up back at the wedding. She wakes Niles up and tells him to come with her. They get in her car and drive away as he explains he has no idea of what is happening and he has given up and embraced the fact that nothing matters. Sarah concludes that they have no reason to live, but Niles explains that dying only resets the day. Once again, Sarah ignores him and kills them both by crashing the car against a truck. The day resets again and Niles takes Sarah to a bar in the desert. After some chatting, Niles challenges a local woman to a game of darts. He darts too perfectly, but when he fails, Sarah suddenly remembers the crazy guy with the bow and asks him about him, so Niles tells her the story. Hundreds of resets ago he met Roy, a relative of Abe's, at the wedding. Roy told Niles that the wedding officiant had some drugs in his pocket, so Niles interrupted his speech to steal them from him. The two of them shared the drugs in the bathroom and danced at the party before going to the desert to watch the stars. When Roy told him it was the best night ever and he never wanted it to end, Niles took him to the cave so he would enter the time loop too. Roy didn't like ending up in the loop at all, and since then, he's been chasing Niles for revenge, and his revenge can get quite violent and sadistic. This is why Niles promised he would never bring another person into loop again, and Sarah's case had been an accident. After the bar, they visit a burrito cart for lunch. Sarah asks him if he's taken advantage of the situation and slept around with people, to which Niles tells her about all his lovers. He had slept with Misty, the barkeeper, Darla, and even Jerry to see what another man is like. He assures her they've never slept with each other, and they agree that they won't do it ever since now they're stuck together and it would only make things awkward. Niles wants to go back to the party but Sarah doesn't want to go because she does thinks very high of marriages. They do end up going back to the wedding anyway. Sarah whispers something into Tala's ear and interrupts the wedding. She rushes out to go to the bar and Niles follows her there. She is playing pool and is very happy about her brilliant idea. When she falls asleep, however, the day resets again, so her plan didn't work. She goes to pick Niles up at his bedroom. From then on, Niles and Sarah start spending their days together, trying to find a way to waste all this free time they have in their hands. They sunbathe at the pool of the neighbor's house, they rent some weapons and learn to shoot, they go driving recklessly, and even sneak into a plane and go flying, crashing shortly after taking off. As more and more reset days pass, the more shameless Sarah becomes, just like Niles. They practice a choreography together and then perform it in the bar, giving everyone the finger before running away. One time, at the wedding party, Sarah tells the groomsmen to wait for her in the bathroom while wearing a blindfold and he walk into Misty and the wedding officiant getting laid. Another time, they interrupt the party by finding a bomb in the cake and doing a whole show of a hero versus a bad pirate. At the millionth reset, Sarah throws Niles a party at the bar using the wedding cake. They also give each other wiener tattoos and sometimes they even end the day cuddling. One evening, while camping, Niles tries to explain to Sarah that to him, the past doesn't matter, it's all about the here and now, but Sarah tells him her backstory anyway. She was married for 2 years and always knew that it wouldn't work out. She asks Niles about what he did before getting stuck in the loop. He says that he doesn't even remember, but that may be the pod talking, because they see dinosaurs walking around in the desert. They're so amazed by such a sight that they don't realize they are holding hands, and later in the tent to sleep, Sarah asks Niles to make love to her. Niles is hesitant but accepts, and when they wake up the next morning, they're both happy and pleased with themselves for a change. But this happiness doesn't last long for Sarah. She now realizes the mistake she has done. It was Abe's room and she slept with him the night before the wedding. Feeling guilty as hell, she leaves with Niles in the car, not really listening to what he's saying, just thinking about how she can get out of the loop. Niles thinks this morning is different and tries to talk about it, but Sarah is lost in her feelings. A police car has been following them for a while. She begins speeding on purpose because she wants to get arrested because she has never been. When the cop turns on the siren, she stops the car and goes to talk to him. Niles doesn't want to come out because he thinks the cop may be Roy, and when he finally leaves the car, his suspicion is proven right. However, Sarah gets in the police car and runs over Roy, since death is meaningless too. A second cop arrives on a bike and tasers and arrests them both. Niles scolds Sarah for her attitude, saying the pain is real and what they do to the other people does matter. They start arguing. Niles finally admits he lied and the two of them did hook up before, many times in fact. This upsets Sarah, who is now more determined than ever to get out of the loop, so she walks in front of a truck to reset the day. The following morning, Niles is disappointed to see Sarah doesn't come to pick him up as usual, so he goes looking for her, but she isn't in her bedroom, and nobody knows where she's gone. He looks for her everywhere and now he's not having fun anymore, he just lays down on beds or floaties at the pool, moping. One evening, while hanging out with the groomsmen and the wedding officiant in Abe's room, he could smell Sarah's perfume on the pillow. Niles realizes what has happened and tells everyone what Abe has done, proving it by giving Tala the pillow that smells of the perfume she bought herself. Niles is attacked by an angry Abe. As they fight rolling on the floor, Niles grabs a fork and stabs Abe's cheek, which freaks out both of them. So next time the day resets, Niles keeps his mouth shut and watches the wedding go normally, only to get emotional when the parents give their speech. Later, he goes somewhere alone and Jerry comforts him while he admits he loves and misses Sarah. Niles drives to Roy's house to turn himself in. Roy doesn't look angry as usual. He invites him in and offers him a beer and shows him the great life he has, 2 kids, a beautiful wife, and a great house. He has developed a new perspective. Today is a perfect day spent with his family, and he gets to relive it over and over. It doesn't get better than that. They decide to never see each other again. As their final goodbye, Niles asks Roy to kill him one last time. Meanwhile, Sarah has been keeping herself busy all this time. After the day of their arrest, she wakes up and immediately telling Abe that they're terrible people and then rushes out of the house. From then on, she begins to spend hundreds of resets studying quantum physics and general relativity, using books, online lectures, and even conferencing with scientists directly. When she feels she has enough information, she starts taking readings of the cave and experimenting with a goat and some explosives. Once she has an answer, she finally goes to see Niles again, who is happy to see her and apologizes for hiding things from her. He wants them to start over. Sarah thanks him for the apology, but she isn't interested in the rest. She explains to him the conclusion she's arrived at. They're trapped inside a box of energy and they can get out of the loop if they leave the box during the 3.2 seconds it takes to travel through it. This can be done by using explosives and blowing themselves up during that time window. She has tested it on a goat and it isn't here in the loop anymore. Niles, however, doesn't want to get out of the loop. He confesses his love for Sarah and after admits he knows about her and Abe, he tells her he wants to stay with her in the loop forever. Sarah turns him down and gives him one last hug and a goodbye before leaving, and when Misty sees her and makes a scene, Niles just breaks up with her. The wedding carries on as normal, but this time, when it's her turn to give a speech, Sarah accepts her responsibility and says some beautiful words about how nice and hopeful her sister is. The two of them hug, and Tala is happy to notice Sarah is wearing the perfume she gifted her. Meanwhile, Niles is at the bar drowning his sorrows. Darla tells him he won't find what he's looking for here, which makes him realize what an idiot he's been. Niles purposely fights with the barman so that he can steal his truck keys. He starts driving to the cave, but he gets a flat tire on the way near a shooting range he's visited in other resets. Niles uses the information he learned during those visits and tells the owner that he is his son. The man, hearing such details nobody else could know, believes him and drives him to the cave on his bike. When Sarah sees them, she tells Niles that time is running out and Niles admits he was scared, but now he knows that life must be shared and he'd rather die with Sarah than live without her. Sarah also admits she wants him around and together they enter the cave while holding hands, and Sarah confesses she loves him too before kissing him and activating the explosives. When they wake up, they're happy to discover that they have indeed gotten out of the loop and it's the following day, so they celebrate by hanging out in the pool. To their surprise, the family that owns that house comes back that day and discovers them on the act. In the meantime, Roy, who is still stuck in the loop, goes to the wedding party after hearing a message from Sarah describing her theory, but when he tries to talk to Niles, he doesn't recognize him. Roy laughs at this turn of events and asks for a very strong drink. The end. Until next. Please like, subscribe and comment.